In studio with us today to talk about workforce and leadership training and a bit of local business development is expert Sylvia Blackmon Roberts. Welcome, Sylvia.
Thank you, Jane. It's so nice to be with you again.
So Sylvia, thinking about local business and your role with the college, what are the three areas of business for you in your mind's eye, the three areas that business owners really need to be stopping and taking a hard look at today as they move forward, or perhaps as they begin to expand their business now?
You know, thinking about that particular question here from the university side of it, um, it's not really a conversation I have with those businesses that I've been talking to at that level. Because usually what we're trying to do is establish those strategic partnership that lead to employment for students or lead to design or new something for them. But I want to pivot from the role that I have with the county as a consultant and as the role of being a former entrepreneur. I think I want to talk to the small businesses at this particular point to answer that question. And what I want to say to them is, and this was evidenced through the PPP money as well as through the CARES money. Small businesses are going to have to get their affairs in order. That means that you have to build a business operations infrastructure. That means that you've got to become compliant with the rules, regulations, and the laws of the state of Florida of being in business. So if you're required a license, you have to get the license. If you are required, if it required to pay taxes, you're going to have to pay the taxes. You're going to have to operate in a way that allows you to be competitive. When we did the the PPP loans, as well as we were doing the Polk Cares, and thank God, Polk Cares did just a
Yes.
phenomenal job of
Yes.
lowering the bar to allow almost anybody who had a business of any kind to be able to access funds. And as you know, Jane, there was a lot of sole proprietors
Yes.
that ended up coming to the table, and we're thankful that they allowed that. But
And
what we also saw in there is just how those infrastructures, those business infrastructures, are very casual or did not exist at all. And I think if you're going to compete, this is I promise you, this is from what I see, what I hear, what I know. You have got to build your infrastructure so that you can compete and you can and as well as pivot in order to grow that business. Even if you don't want to grow it to 50 people, you just want to stay 3 or 4 people or whatever. If you want to sustain, you're going to have to work on that. So I think that's my number one thing. Um, the other thing is that I want to say to these businesses that they have got to start putting time into developing their business, growing their business. So many times, and I'm still talking to small business owners, when they are speaking to me, they are just talking about what they're good at, which is usually that service or the product that they have. They're very good at it. But when I start talking to them about how they're going to get it to market, what are the logistics behind that? What are the costs behind that? They really don't have answers for that because they have not researched. I have a cheat sheet that I send out to people, and I'll say, here are some things to start thinking about for your business. The first thing I tell people, you have got to build your business knowledge. You have got to understand marketing. You have got to understand accounting. You don't have to be experts in these things, but you have to have some level of understanding because understanding allows you to make better decisions. So with that, we've got to, I'm encouraging these small business owners to please start putting in the time to grow and develop and read the tea leaves as it relates to your business. The other thing that I was thinking of in terms of that we really that I would offer small business from my expertise um, is that they have really have to look at not only um, the customer from the standpoint of the way it was pre-COVID, but you have got to spend some time on not only how are you going to get those customers back in the door, but how
yes.
do you keep them once you have them in the door? So do keeping them, getting them back in the door, Jane, you brought up a great point when you talk about it may need to be online sales now. During the shutdown of COVID, and then right after we were coming out, a lot of businesses went to deliveries, as well as, and these are the restaurants, as
Right.
well as the curbside. Well, recently I called one of the businesses that I've been doing that with, and they said, oh, well, we're open back up, so we're not doing curbside anymore. You can do takeout and come in and pick it up. We'll have it ready. You can pay online and we'll just give it to you. Well, I don't want to go into a place.
Right.
So they've just lost my business.
Right.
Because I don't want to go in, but I wanted to, I like their food. The food was good. And I like the curbside aspect of it. So I think you have to spend some time getting to know your clientele, your customers, what their concerns are. That means you got to start asking people.
Well, and I'll tell you that
I saw some.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I apologize. I was just going to say that I see the return of customer service as a requirement. Just to echo a bit of what you just said, it is a requirement. And let me use Amazon as the example, if I may. For online sales, I can go to Amazon and almost anything that I need on a daily basis is deliverable the next day or within 2 days. That is customer service. So in the example of the restaurant that had curbside service and now, well, we're not going to do that, they may not stay in business. They may not stay in business if they don't extend that, I can get it to you right now, because that is something that I'm seeing more and more and more in the respect of efficiency in customer service.
Right.
But the second thing that you mentioned that I wanted to just mention is the importance of relationship building with customers. We were able for quite a bit of time to run as fast and hard as we could in business, right? And
Yes.
if we saw everybody at a wine social or at a chamber function, that somehow counted. Now, we have the ability to see them every day on a Zoom meeting, right? And so things are very, very different with regard to customer relations in general. Some of what I would consider the old school ways of thinking are truly the new school way of working again.
Absolutely. You said that so well, Jane. One of the things I really appreciated, some of the boards that I sit on or some of the organizations that I'm involved in, I appreciated that they sent their surveys to say, are you comfortable with the in-person meeting? Would you be comfortable with the in-person meeting if they were wearing masks? I like that they asked the opinion of that. And maybe this restaurant that I gave you as an example did that too. I know I was ordering once a week, so
Right.
no one asked me. But I just see a lot of, like you said, for what they may see as efficiency, but it may reduce, it may reduce the revenues. I was also talking to a business that they don't have the infrastructure for the online ordering, so they are outsourcing it. But when you use their online ordering, you have to pay $1.25 convenient fee. That fee goes to the company that's housing. And so I was talking to them about, have you checked out the cost to keep that, it may be an upfront cost to do it, but how many customers are you losing that don't want to pay the $1.25, or they pay the $1.25, but then they don't tip your employees?
Absolutely.
So those are the kind of things that I was saying when I'm encouraging you to sit down, really, really delve into the details of your own business. Those are the kind of things that I'm saying you need to be paying attention to. It's the little things that will bleed out your company before the bigger things that you think of, the rent, the insurance, and people are focusing on that. But those are costs that but you don't know when customers are not coming back because of something changing the way you're doing it, if you don't study it or pay attention to it.